Ben Simmons is one of the league's best rising talents, and whether it's showing amazing raw talent for the 76ers or making headlines as Kendall Jenner's ex-boyfriends, there is plenty of curiosity surrounding this young, fresh player. Put simply, his 6'7" frame isn't the only things that make him stand out. Yet, despite his talents, there is still a lot that most people don't know about him. So today, we're going to be counting down the top 10 things you did know about Ben Simmons. Number 10, Ben Simmons' crazy net worth. Despite being just 24 years old, Ben Simmons hit it big when he signed a 5-year contract earlier this season, amounting to an astounding sum of $170 million over 5 years. He is currently set to skyrocket from a yearly salary of about $8 million to a salary of about $30 million starting next season, meaning that he will likely remain a fixture in the 76ers starting lineup for the foreseeable future. And while Simmons certainly makes most of this money through this contract, he is also very well funded by endorsement deals, with his contract with Nike alone having the potential to amount to $40 million if he meets a set of bonus incentives. As a result, he now has a net worth of about $75 million US, making him one of the league's wealthiest players.
At what point for you did it hit you like financially life has changed for me?
In Texas. For sure.
At what point did that hit you? Like, I'm gonna get $1 million.
Right, I said $1 million, you get 500,000. So
yeah.
You gotta pay fees and things like that. So everyone has to pay.
Number 9, Ben's basketball family. Ben Simmons follows in the footsteps of many other NBA greats by having the direction of being born into a basketball-playing family. That's because his father, David Simmons, is notable for being a retired pro baller in Australia's NBL, with him even having won an NBL championship with the Melbourne Tigers during his career. Interestingly enough, his mother, Julie Simmons, also has a connection to the court, as she was a cheerleader for the Melbourne Tigers during David's time there. When you then further consider that his sister Olivia also plays basketball at an elite level, as she is a forward on Arizona State University's varsity team, it becomes clear that basketball talent certainly runs in the family.
There's no doubt that this change to our family has been huge. It is different, it's difficult, it's in
Is it weird in some ways for you?
Absolutely.
Number 8, multi-sport athlete. You would think that someone with skills that are refined as Simmons has been playing basketball since he was born, yet this is simply not the case. This is because Simmons was actually a rugby player until the age of 9, at which point he switched over to Australian football until the age of 15. Incredibly, he did not play organized basketball during this time span, although he had always hoped to eventually transition into the sport, saying that, quote, "It was one of those things where I was always going to play, but I tried different sports. I enjoyed playing other sports until I got to the age where I really wanted to take it seriously." Yet regardless of this switch, it shouldn't come as a surprise that Simmons has also demonstrated commendable soccer skills, as can be seen in some viral clips that can be found across the internet. However, despite all of his multi-sport talent, one sport that he is not compatible with is golf, as after some bad performances, he has made the comment that, quote, "I've played, but probably the clubs are too short." Regardless, we think it's fair to say that Simmons has had the right idea in sticking with basketball. Number 7, peculiar pets. While NBA players are known for having a few quirks, perhaps Ben Simmons' biggest is his taste in pets. That's because he is currently the owner of a bearded dragon named Mutombo, which is of course named after the NBA legendary player Dikembe Mutombo. Yet, this isn't the first exotic pet that Simmons has owned, as his college roommate has attested that Simmons has previously owned other animals such as snakes, rats, rodents, and even a lobster. Interestingly enough, Ben has been known to have these fascinating interests since a young age, as at just 13, he went so far as to tell his mother that, quote, "If I ever make a lot of money in the NBA, I'm going to have this massive tank, and it's going to have an alligator in it." And while a bearded dragon is certainly not an alligator, Mutombo is certainly close enough. 6, opera enthusiast. On the surface, Simmons seems to have music tastes that are similar to many of his fellow NBA players. After all, he made his quarantine workout playlist available to the public through Twitter, and it featured top artists such as Drake, Lil Baby, Nav, Don Toliver, and Young Thug. While these artists are popular amongst others his age, Simmons also apparently has an intense liking of opera, and although he neglected to add any opera music to his playlist, it certainly goes to show that his musical preferences are perhaps even more unique than his taste in pets.
Ben is he's a goofy guy. Also, you know, he has some unique interests. You know, he listens to opera music on occasion.
It is actually, that's a funny thing. Ben loves opera. He's a sensitive sort of guy.
Number 5. Presidential support. It isn't out of the ordinary for celebrities to gain widespread recognition, but it certainly must feel special to be honored by none other than the President of the United States. And fortunately for Ben Simmons, he had the privilege earlier on in his career, and it was made public information that Barack Obama was a fan of his, with a source saying that Obama had supposedly told him this quote, "Been a tough few years, but I really like at Ben Simmons 25. It's about to get a lot better." We're sure that Simmons must have felt pretty great after hearing that. And when you further consider that Obama has also praised him on other several occasions, it becomes clear that the former president is perhaps one of his biggest fans.
You got an okay basketball player named Ben Simmons in the house. So his dad played in Australia with my Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan. I think they would both acknowledge that Ben is better.
Number 4. Expensive taste and accessories. Like most NBA players in the league today, Simmons is known for having expensive taste. After all, he's often seen on his social media rocking flashy jewelry, with his favorite accessory seeming to be golden chains, with him even putting them on his dog on social media. However, due to him being Australian, he is most famous for his massive Kangaroo Chain, which features an embellished pendant shaped like a kangaroo, saying that, quote, "The bling, that's something just representing home." When asked about his famous Kangaroo Chain, we suppose that accessorizing is a form of self-expression and a way for him to connect with his roots. Yet, his expensive tastes don't stop at his watch collection, as he has also been seen wearing a limited edition Rolex, known as the Rolex GMT Root Beer 2.0. And when you consider that it retails for about $60,000, it becomes clear that for Simmons, money really isn't an object. Number 3. $3 million mansion. Speaking of expensive taste, it turns out that Simmons is also the owner of a luxury mansion worth an incredible $3 million. Apparently, he had first taken ownership of the property after moving in with ex-girlfriend Kendall Jenner, and the house features everything you would imagine for such a price tag. After all, it had a luxury swimming pool, modern interior, high-ticket furniture, and even a full-fledged candy kitchen. Unsurprisingly, since purchasing it, Simmons has added a number of personal touches, with his most notable probably being his designated space for gaming. However, he is not reported to be living in the house anymore, and instead rents out the property for about $25,000 a month. And while this may be a bit out of an ordinary person's monthly budget, if we all had that kind of money flowing in, Ben Simmons' house would definitely be our top pick. Number 2. The Fortnite King. Interestingly enough, basketball isn't the only thing that Simmons is known to actively play, as along with other sports he is good at, he seems to have quite the knack for online games such as Fortnite and PUBG. Famous for his gamer name, Simo the Savage, he even has a custom neon sign featuring his gamertag in his house, alongside an independent area designated just for gaming, where he has been known to invite other gamers to discuss and play on his high-tech setup. To top this off, he is also known to post highlights of his games on YouTube and Twitter, and while he may not be a pro gamer, there's no doubting that he's pretty good. And number 1, Ben's confusing relationship with Australia. This might be surprising to hear that Australian player Ben Simmons actually has a very complicated relationship with his native country, Australia. That's because despite him showing his connections to his roots via his accessorizing and tweets, some believe that he has been disloyal to Australian sports. For example, in 2019, Simmons shocked the nation when he pulled out of the FIBA World Cup, despite having committed to playing a month before, with him going out to the public and say that, quote, "It was a mutual decision between me, the team, and the players and coaches. We feel like it's in the team's best interest in the long run that I don't compete in these games, for the fact this team needs to get its chemistry together, and I don't want to get in the way of that." And while this reasoning may have seemed strange to many, he has committed to play for Australia during the 2021 Tokyo Olympics in order to, quote, unquote, make it up to fans. Yet, despite these scandals, Simmons truly does love his home country, constantly highlighting the connection to his roots. He also has hosted charities and other social work in benefit of his home country of Australia, and he is an active advocate against injustice and politics. Nonetheless, if Australians local did not feel warmly towards Simmons, there would not have been a voluntary creation of a wall-sized mural paying respect to Ben Simmons on Chapel Street in Melbourne. So, all in all, I think it's fair to say that he is well liked by the majority of Australians.
Just being in the States for so long, you know, I'll be on the floor and try and say something with an Australian accent, and guys like looking at me funny. So I try and, you know, say it the way an American player would say it.
That's all we have for you today, folks, and thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what Ben Simmons fact you thought was the most surprising. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button for more NBA content. Until next time.